We're live. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to our weekly live stream. My name is Alicia, and today we're going to talk about the first conditional in English. The first conditional, if you don't know that expression, the first conditional is basic if-then statement. So if I do this, then I'll do that kind of thing. Today we're going to focus on the most basic form of conditional sentences. So there are a few different types of conditional. Some of them are very challenging. Today we're going to focus on the most basic type. So there's a lot to do. I'm going to focus a lot on example sentences, and I hope that you send a lot of example sentences and questions in the chat. We are loading everything up. As you join us, please don't forget to like the video and share the video and send us a comment in the chat. Great! Facebook and YouTube are both up. Hello, YouTube. Jack, hi, Russell, Gabriel, Lavish, El New, Vivek, El Espinoza, Gogo, KK, Maximo. Lots of people. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us. And on Facebook, Abdul Kader. Hello. Ronak, Siam, Fabian, Lila, Lila. Hello, Osman. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Don't forget to like us and share us. We always appreciate it. And before I forget, this week there is a special. I'm not going to show you the PDFs I show you this usually. We have a special sale on the website, so please check out the link below the video on YouTube or above the video on Facebook. There's a 31% off sale. I think the concept is like a 31% off for 31 days of March. Is that the deal? Something like that? I don't know. Something like that. It's a special spring deal. So please check this out. From the link below the video or above the video. If you're watching on YouTube or Instagram, please check YouTube or Facebook. Wow, the chat is exploding. Hello, everybody. I can't catch all of your names. Hi. Hi, everybody. Thank you very much for joining. We'll wait a couple more minutes. In the meantime, I want to share a brand new video just went out on the YouTube channel a few, like 12 hours ago or so. So if you have not seen this, please check it out. I tweeted about it on my way to the studio earlier. This is a grammar video, a really good basic grammar video. So today's lesson is also very basic grammar. This is another good basic grammar video of grammar lesson. It's about using just about to. So for things that we're going to do in the very near future. This is on the YouTube channel now and the website too, I believe. So if you want to check this out, please check the English Class 101 YouTube channel. This is a good basic grammar lesson. Okay, so as I said, today's topic is the first conditional. If you don't know the words first conditional, it means basic if-then statements. We're going to focus on very, very basic conditional sentences today. Okay, so I see there are many people now in the chat on YouTube and on Facebook. Fantastic. Thank you everybody for joining us. There are so many people. Real, Armando, Ronald, Belgisa, sorry, Vera, Hasi Jr., sorry. I always feel bad. I mispronounce everybody's names. Anyway, I'm going to share the video and then I am going to start the lesson. So please make sure during the lesson, please feel free. We talked about this last week in presentation related English. Please feel free to send your questions in the chat. I will try to check your questions and example sentences in the chat throughout the lesson. So please send everything. Hi, everybody. There are lots of people. Hi. Hi, Rich. I am great. How are you, Rich? You're the first person to say how are you today, I think. Great. Where are you, Facebook? Okay. I will share and then I will begin too. All right, begin. Let's get started. Okay, so I want to begin today's lesson with this number one portion. Today's lesson is in 3 parts, as usual. The first part is, like, what is the first conditional? Second, I'll talk about the main clause, and third will be the if clause. But I want to focus here on this making it, like the basic what is section of today's lesson. So an if conditional, all if conditionals, this if then, pattern, they all have this structure. This is the most basic structure, how we make it. So there's an if clause, and there's a main clause. So there are many different types of conditionals. We can make lots of complex statements with this grammar. But for today's lesson, we're going to focus on very basic conditional expressions. So when we make the first conditional, our if clause uses the present tense. So we don't need to change our verbs in the if clause. When we make the first conditional then, our main clause is also just like a simple future tense statement. So I'll talk about this more in part 2 of today's lesson, but this part, your main clause, will not see like any, you won't use like past tense or perfect tense, nothing like that. We're going to use very simple future tense statements here, like about our future actions. I will, I won't, I might, I may, and so on. Here, I'll talk about later, this part is where we use modal verbs. May, might, could, must, those ones. So I'm going to talk about this in part 2, so please watch part 2. But there are these two basic parts to an if conditional sentence. One point lots of students ask about, can we switch these? Can we do main clause first, if clause second? Yes, that's fine. The meaning doesn't change. Like the only difference is what do you, like the speaker, what do you want to focus on? Do you want the focus here, your if clause? If so, put your if clause first and a comma if you're writing. If you want your main clause to be the focus, perfect. Put your main clause first, continue with the if clause, no comma. So I'm going to use lots and lots and lots of example sentences today. Please send your example sentences in the chat and I will try to check them throughout the lesson. So let's begin. I'm going to show you some examples now, a lot of the first set of examples that use this grammar. Let's begin this part here. This is the first example. It says, if I win the lottery tomorrow, I'll buy a house. If I win the lottery tomorrow, I'll buy a house. Lottery, this vocabulary word, L-O-T-T-E-R-Y. The lottery is a game. It's a type of gambling. You buy a ticket and you check numbers that are announced. If your numbers match the announcement, you win money. So, if I win the lottery tomorrow, so here, win, W-I-N, to win something, like to get a prize. This is not change, no change to this verb, simple present tense verb. If I win the lottery tomorrow, I'll buy a house. So here we see simple future tense, I'll. This is the reduced form of I will buy. I will buy becomes I'll buy. It sounds more natural to reduce that down. I'll buy a house. So this is not a real situation. If I win the lottery tomorrow, this is not a real situation. We want to imagine. That's the purpose of this grammar, to imagine something. If I win the lottery tomorrow, I'll buy a house. Great. Some other examples are coming in. Manny on YouTube said, if I study every day, I will improve my English. Perfect. Very nice. Very nice. And if you can, try to reduce down. So I will becomes I'll. Then it sounds very natural. Gaurav says, if I get my visa approved, I will meet Alicia. Really? Are you sure? Very interesting. Nice sentence, though. On Facebook, Bruno says, if I pass my license, I'll get a good job. Okay, 1 point. If I pass, you have passed there, past tense. Make sure your verb is simple present tense. No change to your verbs there. Don't change your verb in your if clause. Hadi says, if you keep your mouth shut, you won't get in trouble. Oh, okay. Interesting sentence. Nice. Uriel has a long example. Again, if I win, don't change this verb. So your verbs in your if clause should not change. No change to these. If I win the lottery, I see what you're doing. So this is not a first conditional sentence. This is a more complex grammar point. For today's grammar point, we're not using the same grammar. But yes, your sentence is okay. If I won the lottery, I would invest it and make more money. Nice. Different from today's grammar, but correct. Okay. Lots of you are sending different type conditional sentences, more complex conditional sentences. Nice. Sheena says, if you come to Japan, I'll show you around my city. Perfect. Very nice first conditional. Great. Okay. Alina says, if my sister comes to visit, we may go to dance. Nice one. 1 point there. I mentioned simple present tense for your verbs. Yes. I'll show you this in the next sentence. If your subject is he, she, or it, you need to keep the same verb conjugation rules as you would for a non-conditional sentence. So let me show an example then. Let's look at this next one. This sentence is, if he gets a new job, he'll have to buy a new suit. If he gets a new job, he'll have to buy a new suit. So here, as I think it was Alina in the YouTube chat wrote, this point right here, this S. So I said we don't change the verb. That's true. So by that I meant we don't conjugate to a different tense. So when your subject here is he, she, or it, you need to keep the same present tense verb conjugation rules. So that means we use S. So for example, I think in your example, if my sister comes, something like that. I can't remember your example. Lots of good ones. So if he gets a new job, this part might be confusing. He'll have to buy a new suit. He will have to. So that means that's a future tense, a future responsibility. He will have to buy a new suit is what this means. So if he gets a new job, he'll have to buy a new suit. Great, lots of examples coming in. Oh my gosh. Facebook, I haven't looked at you in a while. If you get some sleep, you'll feel better. Nice one. Angel, Angel, good. Okay, if I study every day, I will speak English very well. Perfect. Nice, Jennifer. If I learn math, I will be a math teacher. Interesting. Ilham, good one. If I get a good job, I'll travel to China. Ali Osman, I'll travel to China. So make sure you have this simple future tense here in your main clause. Just small changes. Okay. MSK8, the purple M on YouTube. Yes, but that's a different type of conditional sentence. Today we're focusing on the very basic type of conditional sentence. Yes. So for a past imaginary situation, yes, you are correct. For today, we're focusing on very basic conditional sentences. If this happens now, maybe tomorrow I'll do this. So yes, you are correct. There is a different type of conditional that uses slightly different grammar. Okay, lots of good examples. I'll finish, well, let's see, time is going quickly. So I'll read a couple more examples and then we'll move on to a quick break and part 2. So a couple more examples that use this very basic type of conditional is, this one uses we. If we forget to go to the grocery store, we won't have anything to eat for breakfast. So here I'm using a negative in my main clause. We won't. So we will not. This means in the future there won't be anything. If this happens, if we forget, so now, today, like this evening, if we forget to go to the grocery store, we won't have anything to eat for breakfast. Final example here. If you don't give me my keys, I can't drive us home. If you don't give me my keys, I can't drive us home. Here, I'm using can't. Or you could change it if you wanted to like, I won't be able to drive us home. So there are a lot of different patterns we can use. in the main clause. That's what I'm going to talk about next. So, a few examples to start us off, and yes, as a lot of you are writing, there are more complex conditional sentences, yes, but today I'm focusing on this basic one. I talked about the third conditional in a live stream last month, I think. If you want to practice more complex conditional sentences, please check out that live video. All right, let's take a break. So that is part one. What is the first conditional? So yeah, thanks for all of your example sentences. Fantastic, lots of them. But for today's break, just a quick break for today. A reminder about this 31% off sale. If you can't see this on Instagram, there is a 31% off sale deal on our website. I believe it's for Premium and Premium Plus members. So please check this in the link below the video on YouTube, the description box on YouTube, or above the video on Facebook. So sometimes our chat desk sends links through. You can check in the chat. But if you miss it, please check the link above or below the video to get the 31% off a special sale for this week. Okay, good. There are lots of good examples. Okay, let's continue on though. I want to focus in part 2 of today's lesson on the main clause, this part I talked about here. So let's move along to the next part. If you are just joining this live lesson, today I'm talking about the first conditional. These are very basic conditional sentences, if-then statements. So let's take a look at part 2. Making the main clause. How to make the main clause. So I explained in the first part of today's lesson, an if conditional, these if-then statements have two parts, if, an if part, which uses the word if, and a main clause. So the main clause tells us or gives us information about the result. So we use this grammar, if-then grammar, to imagine a situation, and then the main clause gives us like the end. What's the result? What might happen? What's going to happen? The main clause tells us the result of the situation. So for the first conditional, for first conditional sentences, we use simple future tense. Simple future tense. So again, yes, there are different types of conditionals that use different tenses in the main clause. Today, first conditional, we're going to use simple future tense. Now, I think the most important part of today's lesson is this. So this is today's big point. So please remember this part. Use modal verbs in your main clause. Do not use modal verbs in your if clause. A very common mistake I see with students is they use, like, for example, if I will, or if I won't, something like that. We don't use those modal verbs in if clauses. So in the part of your sentence that uses if, no modal verb there. Use them in the main clause. This is today's really big point. A reminder, modal verbs are words like will, won't, may or might not, could or could not, should or should not, must not, or other things are like have to, need to, don't have to, don't need to. All of these words should be in your main clause, not in your if clause, for today's lesson. So please remember this as you practice making your example sentences. These words, main clause. That's today's big point. So you might have noticed in part 1 of today's lesson, it's quite common to use will and won't in the main clause for this grammar. When you make this kind of sentence, it's very common to use will and won't here. So the reason for this, if you know the difference between will and going to, we use will and won't when we're making decisions like in the moment, during the conversation. So in these cases, when we're talking about the future, imagining the future, it's quite common to make our decision in that moment, like in the conversation. So it's natural to use will and won't here. Okay, let's look at some examples of this then. And let's focus on the main clause here. We're going to focus on the main clause of this sentence. So these first two examples have the same meaning, really. I just chose a different way to express the same idea to show you that you can kind of be creative as well. So let's take a look. First one, if I feel sick tomorrow. If I feel sick tomorrow, I'll take the day off. I'll take the day off. So here, I'll is I will. This is my main clause. I'll take the day off. It uses will. I will take the day off. So I'm expressing my decision. Reminder, vocabulary reminder, take the day off. Take the day off means not go to work or not go to school. I will take the day off. Another example basically has the same meaning is if I don't feel well tomorrow. Well means good, like energetic. So if I don't feel well tomorrow, I might not come to work. Here, again, modal verb in the negative. I might not come to work. I might not come. These two sentences really have the same meaning. So here, I didn't mention work. This could be school. I might not come to school is also okay. So you can be a little bit creative with your sentences here. There are a couple of different ways to express the same thing. So if you have other examples, please send them in the chat. I will try to check them out. Angel on Facebook says, if you don't come to class on time, you won't take the quiz. Maybe if you don't come to class on time, you won't be able to take the quiz, for example. Okay. Other example sentences. There are some people sending different questions. I'm trying to focus on questions about today's lesson. Other ones. If you eat two, you could sick tomorrow. I'm not sure, Jennifer. If you eat two, I'm not sure about that one. This is American English. Yes, this is American English. Okay. If you eat too much, nice call, could be if you eat too much, you might get sick. Yes, again, we're using first conditional. So that means we're using simple present tense or in the if clause and simple future tense in our main clause here. All right. Other ones, if tomorrow is sunny, I'll go to the beach. Nice. So very basic if sentences. Okay. Onward, let's see, time is going quickly, so I'll read these just to give some more examples, and then we'll finish today's lesson with part 3. Okay, 2 more examples are, if I don't study, I won't be prepared for my test. So here I've used a negative here, and this is also a negative. If I don't study, I won't be prepared. If I don't study, I won't be prepared. Thiago, nice one. If I don't study English today, I might not remember this lesson. Perfect, very nice one. Okay, one more example. If I don't leave the house now, I'll miss the bus. This is a good daily life expression you can use. If I don't leave now, I'll miss the bus. I'll miss the train. So again, we're using this will in the main clause here. Very common here. Very basic grammar. All right, I will take one more quick break and then we're going to finish up with the if clause. We'll focus on the if clause here and some patterns, some basic information you can use there. Okay, so as I said a couple times before, today I'm not showing these special PDFs, because there's a special 31% off sale on our website at EnglishClass101.com. So you can go there and get 31% off the subscription, so the monthly subscription price. So if you are studying and you want some more tools to use, So that means like transcripts and like voice recording tools and actually teachers as well to help you with your studies. Please check the link below the video on YouTube or above the video on Facebook. If you're watching on Instagram, please check YouTube or Facebook. So it is 31% off. Please take a look. It's a short time only, I think, this one. Okay, so please check this out soon. Please check it out soon. Okay, so I'm going to go to the last part of today's live lesson. Finally, today I'm going to talk about making the if clause. If you're just joining, today's lesson is about if-then statements, very basic form if-then statements. And if you have not already, please make sure to like and share the video so other learners can find our lesson. Okay, let's continue to the last section. Someone says, please show us some incorrect phrases. Okay, I'll show you some incorrect phrases. I've shown a couple. Anyway, let's take a look here. This is actually one part where I see a lot of mistakes is in the if clause. So I explained in part 2 here that we should use, I'm going to step off screen for just a second. We should use modal verbs in the main clause. So a very common mistake I hear is learners use modal verbs in the if clause. Don't do that. So like if I will, or if I might, or if I don't know. Don't use modal verbs in your if clause. Modal verbs should be used in your main clause. So please keep that in mind. So don't use that like if I might, if I won't, that kind of thing. Those would be not correct in the most situations. So the purpose first of the if clause is to tell us the imaginary situation. So this situation is not real. The purpose is to give us the situation. The if clause is the situation. So when we use our if to begin the sentence, we very commonly follow it with a personal pronoun. Wow, someone just sent us money in Super Chat. Thank you. We really appreciate it. That was very nice of you. From Korea. Hello. Awesome. Thank you. So this part, this if, is usually followed with a personal pronoun. That means if I, if he, if she, if we, if you, if they. So it's very common to follow your if directly with your pronoun. So don't use like if will or if might or if verb. So it's very common to use a pronoun here. In some more complex sentences, using a gerund is okay. For those of you who are like more complex or familiar with more complex grammar, you can use a gerund. So a gerund is the noun form of a verb that ends in ing. So there are some situations where you can use a gerund here. But again, a slightly more complex grammar point. So let's look at a couple more points here. Verbs should be in simple present tense. A couple of you have mentioned, like, how do I use like a past participle, or what should I do there? Yes, for other types of conditionals, you do use different verb conjugations in the if clause. That's okay. For today, the very basic if conditional, just use simple present. So that's what you'll see in all of the example sentences in today's lesson. So let's take a look at just 2 more example sentences to finish, or maybe 1. Okay, so if we finish work early, we can see a movie. If we finish work early, we can see a movie. So here, if is followed by my personal pronoun, we, which is followed by my verb in simple present tense. If we finish work early, we can see a movie. One more with focus on the main clause. If she doesn't call me back. If she doesn't call me back. So if personal pronoun she, negative present tense, doesn't call. If she doesn't call me back today, I'm gonna be really upset. So make sure that your modal verbs are in your main clause. If clauses, in most cases, will be if plus your personal pronoun. So please keep this in mind as you make these sentences. Okay, I have to finish there for today. So thank you as always for joining us for this week's lesson. Excuse me. It's a good lesson to review, I think, just these very basic grammar points from time to time. So if you have other questions, please send them in the chat. I will check your questions after today's lesson, and I will try to answer them next week as well. But if you missed today's lesson, we'll be back next week. Next week, it will be, the date is March 6th. Wow. March 6th, it's already March, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Our topic is going to be responding to like greetings. So like, how are you? And like, good morning, those sorts of things. How do you respond to that creatively? So I know lots of you know too. I don't recommend like, I'm fine, thank you, and you. So next week I'm going to talk about like making quicker, more creative responses to everyday greetings. So I hope that that's like a small point that you can take and use quickly in your life. So thinking of like more creative, personal ways to respond to that. So let's do that next week. Creative responses to how are you? Next week, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, New York City time. So please join us again next week. All right, I have to finish there. So thank you as always for sending your questions and for sending your example sentences. Thank you for liking and sharing the video as well. We really appreciate it. Make sure to check out the 31% off sale on the website, and good luck with your studies. Enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy your weekend, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.